Hey guys, happy week 3. I just want to make this really quick video because I've had a couple of questions about your essay pitch this week, that's due this week. So I want to tell you that in the past I've required students to create outlines. And while some students do really enjoy and appreciate the outlining process in terms of organizing a plan for the essay, a lot of students, on the other hand, just do it because it's a mandatory assignment and they do it at the end of their paper and they don't seem to take it seriously. And the outline doesn't really have enough to tell me what the plan is for the essay. So this semester I decided to kind of scratch that as a requirement and instead go to the essay pitches. Now, when it comes to a pitch, it's something that is oftentimes used in freelance work or in the business world where you are suggesting a way that you plan to do something. And then the person who you are speaking to, who you're pitching your idea, will give you feedback. And my camera just fell. I'm not starting over, so we're just going to deal with that. But the person that you are speaking to will give you feedback or offer additional commentary or let you know where there may be some room for improvement in terms of your plans. So what I want you to do this week is to just write a solid paragraph that is a pitch or a plan for your essay. The tone of your writing should be personalized. It does not have to be formal. Think of it this way. You, the writer, are speaking to me, your audience, about what you plan to write about. And that could simply begin, for the memoir essay, I want to write about when, what, right? I want to write about the time that, whatever. Now, more than that, though, because this does need to be a full paragraph, I want you to elaborate. Tell me why. Why is it that you want to talk about the time that you went to the beach with your grandmother? Okay, so I say that because a lot of times with this assignment, students get in the habit of telling me what happened, but they leave off the value, right? And it doesn't mean that that value needs to be explicitly stated. You don't have to write the moral of the story is, or from this I learned, but I should be able to understand the real meaning and the value in your writing. So when I ask you to answer the why, so I want to write about this trip that I took to the beach with my grandmother because it was the last family vacation that we were able to take before she passed away. This was memorable to me in the moment and now that I'm older in retrospect because, right? What's the value in it? What did you learn from it? What did you grow from it? I want to get inside your mind and understand what is motivating you to write this paper outside of the grade, outside of the mandatory requirement, okay? So answer that question, and then when I ask you, what do you plan to include? Well, I plan to include some description of what it was like when we were there, some of the things we did. More importantly, I plan to include some of the dialogue, conversations that we had that I now look back on and I realize, my grandmother was really dropping nuggets in terms of how to live a happy, successful life, things that I'll cherish for the rest of my life, right? Those exact ideas may not surface in your final paper in a very obvious way, but if you can explain well what you plan to write about and your motivation for writing it and how you plan to meet that goal, what do you plan to include, then when I read your final paper, I can better gauge whether or not you successfully conveyed your message that you wanted to present in telling a story about yourself. As you're thinking about your topics, I want to encourage you to choose things that matter, right? It doesn't have to be a major earth-shaking thing to me, but it needs to matter to you. It needs to have some level of reflection in terms of who you are and how you are. Just yesterday, I had a student in class who said, I want to talk about the time when I was 6 years old, and without knowing the danger, I jumped from a cliff into a lake. Okay, cool. That's fine. That sounds like a short story. What else are you going to say about it? Well, he went on to talk about how it was true to his desire for adventure. Even now, as a grown man, he still has that desire for adventure. And although he realizes that some things are dangerous, he chooses to be optimistic. He chooses to think that the worst will not happen. So in telling the story about just jumping off a rock into a lake, he then has extracted some really valuable life lessons that he uses to guide himself, and that could also be applicable to me because I didn't jump from a rock when I was, or a cliff when I was 6 years old. So I hope that makes sense. Also, I want to say, if you would like to submit more than one pitch, you can put it all in one Word document. Say you have 5 or maybe 3 ideas floating around in your brain, just type up 3 different paragraphs. That's going to be easier than writing a whole paper that ultimately you may not be satisfied with in the end. So just write a couple, and if you want me to, I'll give you my opinion on which I think might yield the best product. So hopefully that clarifies a little bit about what I'm asking you for in terms of creating the pitch. And if you have any other questions, please do not hesitate to let me know. Thank you guys. Happy writing.